That ain't good. What is that sound? I hear something vibrating. Hold up. It's annoying me. You guys might not be able to even hear it. Something is vibrating. You guys let me know if you can hear it. It's like really subtle in the mic, and I want to make sure that you guys can't hear it. I'm also going to pop out the chat. Welcome to Make a Path Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and I'm actually really excited to sit down and talk about The Walking Dead. Those who live. You know what? I keep screwing this up. What was I calling it before? I don't know why, but this is a title that doesn't like stick with me. Those who live. I keep calling it something else. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But this is the premiere episode, episode 1. And it should just be ending on TV, like right this very moment. So if you give me a second, I could get the chat popped out. There is a poll down below so you can go and vote. Let me know if you can see me good, hear me good. And we'll get into the review portion of the episode. And if you guys have any questions or you want to add into the discussion, you can either tag my name. There's a way to do it with it at Make a Path Presents in the chat, and it'll be orange. And I'll get to it in the fan feedback portion. Or if you want to do one of the text to speech, there's a link for that as well. You have a couple different options. And I'm pretty good about scrolling through chat and reading as many comments as I can. So if you're a broke bitch, don't worry, I got you back. Now, let me scroll here. I do have the chat up. How's the chat doing? The ones who live. Yeah, I don't know what I was saying, but it was something close to that, but it wasn't that. What spoiler? Who's doing a spoiler-free chat? Yeah, we're getting into the spoilers here. This isn't like, see, spoiler-free reviews, not to go on a tear, but those are always weird things to me because before it's a spoiler-free review is like a pre-release hype, not even hype, but it's a gauge review where you're watching these people review something that they've seen before you've seen it. Usually it's before, the public can actually see it. And they're not giving spoilers, but they're giving you some pros and cons so you can gauge whether or not, like, oh, there's a lot of action or it's really slow and emotional. And then you can kind of gauge, if this is something that you want to invest your time in, yada, yada, yada. But once it's out and we're deep diving discussing it, like that's what we're doing here. If you're looking for something where we discuss it, but there's no spoilers, we're not doing any of that. Yeah, no future episode spoilers. I definitely agree with. We're not a spoiler channel in case you're new here. I've very rarely ever been interested in spoilers, especially for The Walking Dead. I know early on we played around with it a little bit, but that was when I realized that people spoiled everything. I thought people were just like spoiling little things, like teasing locations coming up or characters coming up, but nah, fans were like, totally, they would hunt down every single detail and ruin it, in my opinion. So yeah, no future spoiler. We have mods, and if I see you, I'll remove you. I don't mind if I get it spoiled because that's kind of like I'm the overseer of the chat, so it happens. But I will take you out of chat if you're spoiling the future episodes if I see it, or if the mods see it, they'll time you out. But anyhow, so we're gonna get into the fan feedback. We're going to get into the review, and then we'll be diving into the fan feedback, but make sure you vote in the poll down below. The episode just ended a minute ago, so I'm going to skim through the comments, just make sure you guys can hear me good. And let me just make sure. I'm not going all the way up, so just checking. I don't see anyone saying like, "Yes, we hear you good." I'm sure there is, but I might have missed it. Yeah, if the mod, if you had got that guy, I didn't see it. Someone's spoiling future episodes. If I see it in a second, I'm kind of staying up to date with it, but we're gonna get you out of here. Angle that they latched onto that at times can be a little silly. One way is like Rick has a kid out there. He doesn't know about the second kid. This isn't a spoiler. This is the vibe of it, because they want to market this as the ultimate love story. When he says shit like I'm my life is everything, and I'm getting back to my wife. She's my world, and all that, and she's all that means everything to me, and I also have a kid. That's how it comes off. So there's a line in this episode that comes off really cringy because it's like, my wife is my world, and then I have a kid. Those are elements where I'm never going to be on board. They should have said, listen, our angle is the epic love story. However, the fans aren't idiots. They can hear shit like, him talking about Judith or his child, or, he has a wife, and yada, 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 and package it in a way that makes it, the dialogue, more organic, instead of being so focused on that and then dropping the runner-up. Also, I have a kid. That's kind of important. So, but I still highly recommend the episode. I thought it was really good. We are going to get into the episode now. So if you haven't seen it, it's time to back out. You can hear me loud and clear? All right, good. I had to put down little rug things because my apartment doesn't have rugs. So I put little rug pads to try to damper some of the sound. And because I was moving things around, I had some soundproofing up, but I'm busy with work and I just haven't had time because I was getting things ready for the Flaw vs. Awe reviews. And if you're new here, I have another channel called Flaw vs. Awe. Go check out those videos, essentially breaking down what we love and hate about movies, and we add it up and give each movie and TV show episode a score. I have a new one dropping tomorrow. That's going to be The Walking Dead Season 1, Episode 4. Coincidentally, it's not Walking Dead focused, but coincidentally, we are uploading the first season of The Walking Dead, and then we'll be getting into Friday the 13th. But we have dozens of other videos up. Anyhow, so if you haven't seen the episode, get going. Let me just double check with the chat. You're still watching the episode? Would you start it late? Yeah, if Carl was alive and still with Rick, that would be cool. But all right, so you guys got my opinion. I'm diving into the review portion right now, and there will be spoilers. So kicking it off, they used this intro part that I have on screen. I just want to intercut. AMC sucks. They suck so bad, they made a change that's new where when you sign up, they ask you if you want to pay for ads or not. So I said, you know what? I'll pay $10, no ads. And it is trash because they did something new where every single time you have to replay an episode, whether you're watching it, you have to shut it off and go do something and come back. Or this happened to me twice. Something happened where the episode buffered, froze. I had to just refresh it and resume where I was watching from, and it played a non-skippable 30-second commercial. From what I can tell, unless it's glitched, any and every time you have to restart the episode, even if it's like, if I refresh it right now and start it, I'm watching it and I refresh it, and every single time you have to watch a 30-second ad, which in my opinion is grimy as shit, you know? There's still 15 minutes left on AMC airing. Why? Well, how long was this episode? Oh, it's an hour-long episode. Damn, I did not prepare for that one. It was an hour 20 on TV. Yeah, I mean, we could probably hang around for 20 minutes. Anyone rewatching this would probably have to just skip, you know. But we can hang around or get right into it. I would prefer to have it fresh for people who finish it to jump in. But you guys let me know what you think. You guys let me know. We don't have to rush it. I mean, I don't have to obsess about getting everything perfect for the streaming, because things are a little bit different now. The streaming is just absolutely for fun. Look at this thing. The mod zapped somebody? Good. Well, if they're leaving spoilers, good. I don't know if this is accurate. How do you tighten it for pounds? I think you go that way. Oh yeah, that's stronger. I hurt my wrist. I gotta work on a little bit of... What up, Cody? That was loud in my ear. God damn.
What kind of civilization story do you like more for survivors? A densely populated society that tries to rebuild a modern society, or a sparse population of survivors with a Western vibe? I'd if this how I worded this makes sense, but I hope you get it. Smile.
I might have turned the volume down on you guys. I meant to turn it down in my headphones. I think I got it in my headphones, but let me see what you said again. Well, what kind of civilization story do you like more for survivors? Densely populated society that rises to rebuild a modern society, or a sparse population of survivors with a Western sparse. I don't know if this is how I word it. It makes sense, but I hope you get it. No, it made total sense, Cody. I have to say, thank you very much for the $4 tip. And the comment made sense. I get exactly what you're saying. And I have to go with, I like a combination of both, but my preference is a sparse. And that is because you can focus more on the characters. Like, for example, a criticism of the CRM, and even in this episode of the ones who live, the ones who love, that who we love, or some shit. That's what I called it before. I was like, wait, that don't sound right at all. That sounds dumb. But anyhow, and this is one of the criticisms, I don't believe for a single second, they haven't sold it to me, that this huge, remember Commonwealth had like 50,000 people? Well, these people have hundreds of thousands of citizens in their communities. Omaha, the one that they just destroyed, whatever, we'll destroy it. Nobody is out there. They are the largest in the United States in that location. And one community is talking about like shit, and they whack them like a mafia boss. You know what I'm saying? No one's out there. I don't care who they're talking to. Anyhow, they killed 90,000 people, I think it said in that report. So when you get these civilizations, you have hundreds of thousands of people. I just don't buy that they're going through all this to keep Rick alive. They try playing it off, and I give them props. Like this one guy in particular was saving Rick's ass, and because he wanted him to be a leader, but then there was an ulterior motive for that. That shit, concept-wise, I actually really like that. The one thing I don't get in the episode, another criticism, was the whole like Rick giving up type of storyline. They did it briefly to go with the pacing and the flow, and it's emotional. There's a name for it, but it's where you give I don't know what the official name is, but I used to call it ruin and reward. When you're writing a story, you want to ruin the audience. Essentially, you're ruining the character, not in a negative way. You're like in Game of Thrones, you're kidnapping, torturing, beating, throwing them in a jail cell, cutting off their arm. Like that's what you're doing with Jaime Lannister, Sansa Stark. And you're ruining these characters. You're ruining, it's that ruin. Something happens that is ruined in their life, and the viewer has some sort of emotional connection where it makes them sad. But then the reward is when they get their revenge, when they escape, when they get help, when the cavalry shows up. Same thing for Rick. They wrote it to be a ruin before the reward, where the ruin is Rick giving up, and then the reward is dun dun dun, you know? And I don't buy that at all for a number of reasons. And this ties into the huge, vast, the huge populated landscape of the CRM. There's so many people, I think the couple times they could have used a line like, Rick, the Major Beal comes up, Rick, we run into thousands of citizens out there, but and this is true, the masses are fucking retards. It's once in a while we find like a leader, someone and those are they're rare. Those are gold. When you find those people, especially in the apocalypse, we need them. Then it makes more sense why they have an A and a B. It makes more sense why they would want to bring Rick onto their side. But for me, they didn't sell it. And that ties into also what I don't like about huge communities, where it always feels like there's the people we watch are the stars, and they're involved in the highest of the high things that are going on, but the community has all these operations and we never see them because there's no time, there's no budget, there's no this, there's no that. And the reason is because you can't cram everything in there. Imagine cramming every character that runs companies or that runs politics. Imagine cramming all those characters into a TV show. The cast would balloon to ridiculous, and it does hurt it. Again, with the Commonwealth in the original series, it hurt it a lot because you see our characters show up and all of a sudden they're talking with the president, the fucking president. They're doing little operations, all of them, not just, oh my God, we got one person that somehow made her way up because she was a lawyer, and that's how they should have done it. One person is out working with the president. Everyone else, they don't go near the president. They don't see her. They don't go this and that. They might see her on TV or on a stage, 500 feet away. That's how it would be a little more organic. But in Commonwealth, every fucking buddy, they would just knock on the door. Oh yeah, Mrs. President. So I was doing my laundry earlier, and you're looking at it like, you mean to tell me she doesn't have 20 absolute loyal, not even soldiers, but just loyal political allies / a couple rivals that are always around her at all times doing things? Because that's more realistic to when you're running a 50,000 large community. Anyhow, the Commonwealth is massive. However, it's small in scale to the CRM. And that's where it leaves me going like, man, it just doesn't have that feel, Why is Rick drawn on a cell phone? How did he leave it on the one on the ship when that's something that I didn't get either. He drew a picture on a cell phone and left it. And then they also show him burning one. So I assumed he was drawing that same picture on multiple phones, and he left one and burned one. But again, it didn't seem clear. And also, what's with the Chinese writing? I'm hoping they're getting to that, but I don't even know why you do shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, just put it on there. Rick's English. He doesn't speak any other language. Just fucking put English on there. And the episode moved fast. Hopefully we're ready to get into it in a minute here. Ronnie, the show's still on because it's longer than an hour. Yeah, we noticed that before. I haven't gotten into reviewing it. I know we talk about the episode, but that's not even close to my review. That is one thing I'm going to be mentioning. But, hey, thank you very much for the super chat. Michael Heath.
$9.99 from Michael Heath.
Hey, thank you very much for the super chat. Well, I think the episode was too fast. I mean, like I said, when I do the review, I'll just basically say that. We're going to start in a few minutes. The text was Japanese. Well, fuck me. How would I know? But to go into detail here, kind of just like extra discussion, this was something that we had also talked about as speculating on how quick they can do it once we heard that Michonne was coming aboard. And it was always an option to do. I think we even predicted they can do the first episode about Rick, second episode about Michonne, third episode about, the reunion. And honestly, it depends what they're going to do with CRM. If the main focus is going to be Rick and Michonne, then yeah, you might as well just get it over with, because we don't have a lot of options here. Do you want to sit there and go 2 seasons long over the CRM just to have them reunite and focus? Like, I would love to know, like, what was it like when Rick first got there? Keep in mind, and I think that's easier to skip it because keep in mind, Rick was severely injured. Jadis had little pull with these people that we know of. She just traded with them. And she shows up with someone who's severely injured on his deathbed. They have to pump in a ton of resources, even though they're huge, expensive resources to save this person's life. I just don't buy it. It doesn't make sense. They wrote it as something to get Rick out of the story for now. But coming back around to it, there's no way they can justify that. It doesn't make sense that they would use that much resources to heal someone. So, for real, like, where did he think of writing Chinese? Yeah, I got the feeling someone else wrote it. But with that being said, the CRM is not interesting to me. I'm here for the zombies and Rick motherfucking Grimes. Well, it's Rick and Michonne, but Rick is the one who was taken away. He has so much story that we don't know about. Keep in mind, Michonne left at the end of the season 11, or at the end of the final season. We know more about Michonne. We followed her journey more, so we're caught up for the most part. There's only that little bit where Michonne ran into some fuckers, and Michonne and her band of merry fuckers are going to run around and find Rick motherfucking Grimes. You know what I mean? When it comes to the mystery box aspect, that's all in Rick's court, 90%. So when it comes to the balance of my interests, I don't give a fuck about CRM. I don't give a shit. I am interested about, Rick when he first got there versus I thought they were going to give us some teases of when he first got there. Well, because imagine how neat some of that could have been. Like teases of this community, and you can incorporate something new and fresh and I don't want to speculate at what that could be, but leave that as like how potentially cool that could have been with what they've done, but we'll see. Yeah, is the episode over yet? Because I do want to get into it. The big moment for me was all right. All right. If you're going to do it, you're going to do it, but all right. This is real clunky, though. How do you turn this dial back around? Reset. You got to push it in. Doesn't do anything. Reset it. It's at 0. Well, that's stupid. That's fucking dumb. Reset it. You gotta manhandle it. Fuck me, bro. Get back down to 9. Oh, you bitch. There we go. How did I do that? Anyhow. Ooh, shit. Angela Kang wasn't involved in this episode. So actually we could put the chat on screen. If you're going to look at the chat, hopefully you already saw the episode. And I mean, the episode's probably going to air until 10:30, right? I'm hoping it's over. I want to get into it because I can't stream long on Sundays anymore. Good to go with the review? All right, we're going to do that. Let me put in another text-to-speech here because I don't know if, I did pin it. All right, guys, we're going to get into my review here. And if you haven't seen it and you're worried about spoilers, I give it a recommend, but we're going to dive right into it. Now, the intro was very much very cool looking, but filmed and looked like a promo trailer, and I'm mixed on it because again, it looked cool, but it had this poster quality. Like every image looked like it was it was filmed specifically to be a poster, a teaser, and it had this cleanness to it that, again, it's cool visually, but it also just comes off as you're watching a commercial. I don't know how better to put that, but even still, it's got cool fires that are burning up. I like the idea of keeping a hold of your people. That's tricky though, because you get these guys running around, they're fighting. You mean to tell me they're not getting tangled up? You trust one guy to go out and axe the shit out of a bunch of walkers and you're holding on to them? Why? So for every consignee, you have one person that you trust deeply with a leash onto them. That shit I just didn't get. I could have seen something where it was like one person came up and they had like 4 or 5 leashes and they let out in some unique way. Maybe they had a stake. They walked up, they had this stake, they like bolted it into the ground, and then it had a few leashes that went out. Even still, there's going to be some people that are going to get mixed up in the leash. That could have even been a way to show how Rick escaped, where mixing the leashes up and they got tangled and he called someone over. We got a little tangled, blah, blah, blah. Either or, we can see here where the first or second idea comes into play. Rick and his arm. They finally did it. It's cool. It's a comic book moment. I'm not going to be too hard on it because I think I've been in the camp of I don't want them to do it. It doesn't add much to it. And after seeing it now, man, I wish they just didn't do it. It's cool to just, okay, we get it, for Rick. And even the concept, like he's tied up, he has nowhere to go. And how this connects back to Merle. Don't forget, in the first season, I'm sure most of you already remember because of how much you rewatched the first season, Rick left Merle to die, handcuffed, to a pipe on the roof, and Merle had to cut through his own arm because he couldn't cut through the handcuffs, he couldn't cut through the metal, and yada, yada, yada. Cutting back to that, but also cutting to the visual of Negan when he told him to cut Carl's arm off, and it had that type of atmosphere. Rick had that similar look. I like how they tied it into both of those situations, as if it was like this haunting foreshadowing that followed him, like his destiny finally caught up to him. I do like those, and I don't think that was done on purpose. I think that might have just been done on accident. Maybe it was kind of done on purpose, but and then when he cut his arm off, it did look, it looked, cheap. It's like, oh, there's a fake arm. And even with his movement, it just didn't have this. I was expecting, they didn't have to do a huge spectacle, but man, I was expecting something where it was tense. Like this moment was like whoa. Now, if you're a casual viewer, you probably shit yourself. You were like, holy fuck, Rick cut his arm off, But for some of us, we knew it was a possibility. And just how he did it, getting up and running and getting zapped immediately, it's stupid. Rick knows that these people got this shit on lockdown. I mean, to cut your hand off and to bleed out, they had all this time. They couldn't at least give 5 minutes, to the whole cutting the hand off scene and make it so he somewhat got away. I mean, that would have been like the shit if they dedicated because then it could have been like, okay, Rick did it, but we get it because he almost got away. Rick got so fucking close. Like, it was cool. We cauterized that shit. But then when he stood up, it's like, oh, come on, Rick. It's as funny as thinking that Rick cuts his shit off. And as soon as he cuts it off and goes, the guys grab him up and handcuff him like, you stupid prick. Like, Rick, you're a dumb motherfucker. You know what I mean? And I really like Aaron. Aaron looked exactly like comic Rick. We didn't need it. And here's why I say it wasn't done bad. So if you like it, I get why you like it. I don't even hate it. For me, it just feels like we need something in the beginning, and they either didn't have anything else, they didn't try to get anything else, or even maybe Andrew Lincoln was like, listen, we need to do this thing. Whatever it was, it just felt like the easiest road. Like they were like, all right, fuck it, let's do that. And they put it on in there. I would have preferred if, stick with me here, but hear me out, not to get too far ahead, but what if they didn't cut his hand off in the beginning? And what if at the end, now this takes a little bit of work because I don't know where they're going to go, but what if Michonne, he's in a fight with Michonne at the very end, she lops off his shit, and, in the moment when he's realizing like, whoa, wait a minute, she lops off his shit, and he screams Michonne, like instead of no or some shit like that. And then she's like, she stands back like, holy fuck. He falls to his knees. He grabs his arm. He's now, mutilated, and he's holding his arm. It's gushing out blood. And she hears that like, I recognize that voice. And then she is scared in a way and rips off his mask, and it's Rick, and he's looking at her, but she cut his fucking arm off. That would have been some dark shit. I would have been like, bro, oh man, I don't know where they're going to go though. But anyhow, so we get through with lopping off his arm. He didn't. Well, let me see if I can show a scene from the beginning. One thing I hated, and one thing I skipped as much as I could, was the dream / visions. I think they're dreams. Did he do it? The dream / visions with Michonne. I think the second or final one, I'll be honest with you, I fast forward right through it. Sopranos did that quite a bit. I do not like dreams, do not like visions. 99 times out of 100, those are wasting screen time because you want to insert some symbolic shit that you really thought needed to be in it, but it doesn't fucking matter because it's a dream. It didn't happen. I don't give a shit if Rick is dreaming about his family or what it means, and symbolically, I don't give a shit about any of that. It doesn't mean dick, It doesn't mean dick, Rick, because it didn't happen. It's nothing. And they can play around with his brain. I don't even give a fuck. His mind, like that's what he was thinking. This is where it symbolizes, but I don't give a shit about any of that. I guess it could have been worse. The hand looks cool. Like the hand, that little hand itself there. Yeah. Anyhow. So he lops his shit. And it's going to be buffering. Here's that dream stuff I was talking about.
Past the big blue building.
Oh man, I'm lost. And it's nice seeing Denai Guerrero. It's nice seeing Guerrero. Did I say that right? Andrew Lincoln, Rick and Michonne, even in a dream sequence. I just wish that it was a scene with them. You know what I mean? Like, I was just talking about expanding on him losing his arm because that's a big thing. Take these bullshit dream sequences out. Fucking throw them in the trash and put it towards him losing his arm. Done. So the dream sequences rest in a part of the show I do not like. Even a little bit. I hope they do not continue doing it. I don't see any reason why they would. I love any visual like this. Anything that they did similar to this where it shows the world in decay. I love it. From The Walking Dead to The Last of Us. Anything that's post-apocalyptic that shows that type of atmosphere. I love it. I just wish we got more of it, in the episode, in action, with the characters there visually seeing that landscape. So we're introducing characters. Rick is on the wall. This whole stuff just, for me, it's fine. It's weird. It's like, yeah, he's there cutting up zombies. It's nice that the zombies are coming one at a time and not piling up. However, it is what it is. It's not bad. I would have preferred if we had some sort of cooler structure to how they were cleaning up, zombies and what they were doing. But I think this is a budget issue. We have a gap in the wall. We show zombies show up and he kills the zombies. We have Little Miss Badass. She was annoying just because she does all this, she's okay for most of it, but she's a very cliche character. The other girl in there who was like, if you tell me what to do, I'll fucking end you. Like, bitch, calm down, And of course, she's a master, the greatest ever. She's like awesome when they first start doing the fighting. I do want to see how that plays out. He has his little friend here. Some of this, I don't know if it's even going to go anywhere, except for, because keep in mind, unless if they don't do something, everything with this guy is a total waste of time. It plays into Rick's story about wanting to escape, but if they don't do something with it down the road, this is all a waste of time. But it's not bad. He has an interaction with someone who's a little more goofy. Some of the dialogue is goofy because we hear, and this is the biggest problem with rushing. Here's the biggest problem with rushing big, big chunks of time. You get him sitting down and he's like, and they did this multiple times, unfortunately, in the episode, but he said, you know what, Rick, we sat down in this very chair 6,700 times and we said these 17 different jokes, and you know me, we did this and did this, and it's that exposition where it's filling you in on their backstory. And I just wish the writing was a little sharper in those moments, and I get why they do it, and I'm not against it, here and there, but it's done frequently. I think every single character mentions, something that's happened over a long period of time to highlight, something that both know. They already know that they've both have done this and yada, and it's only there for the audience, and it is a bit clunky. That's something dialogue wise. Outside of that, and I think a couple other little spots, that was the first time I didn't get an ad when AMC must have heard me, and they must have been like, yo, this guy's bitching. Fucking, I'm just kidding, but still, shut those ads off. Now, Rick looks cool as shit, I gotta say. In his CRM gear, he does look cool, and them building on what his role was in the CRM, there's a lot that's missing. And it's supposed to be there because we see him literally building a whole operation from ground up, from rubble to a fully running installation. So there's a lot that he's involved in that's not missing from his life, but it's missing from the viewers, where that could play a part in introducing some backstory and some interesting aspects to the new Rick Grimes. And I hope they do something with it instead of just showing like time passed and that's it. You know what I'm saying? Because keep in mind, he was there for years with the CRM going through all this. He had to have done different things, different operations, learned new skills, made friends, betrayed people, even if he didn't want to or didn't try. The concept of this stuff I love. You have General Beale, the white dude, oh my God, the guy from Lost. Love him as an actor. He's the higher up. But then you got the black guy that is, I forget his name in this, but he wants to overturn the leadership from the inside out in a sly way and essentially run the CRM differently than General Beale. Love that fucking concept. I just wish they incorporated something different. Now, they wanted Rick to give up. Again, I think that's stupid. Rick is not going to give up. Plus, he does it in a really stupid way where it's like, I'm going to fully embrace the CRM now. I tried and I failed. And it's like, bro, do you realize embracing the CRM is your path to escaping, right? Even the one guy says it, and Rick perks up like, oh yeah, the fucking duh, That type of writing is fucking dumb. That's some of my small nitpicks in there, because concept-wise on the rest of it, I loved it. I love the whole concept of him building ranks. I think that was my favorite aspect, that I kind of wish that was more of the story of Rick trying to escape, and then him being like, you know what, that's not the way I'm going to escape. The way I'm going to escape is gaining, when he has that talk about power and he's like, I don't want power, that's a great Rick moment. But I wish that was also a moment where Rick realized, and it dawned on him, power is going to be the only way for him to get back to his family, And I wish there was discussions, because we know what happens at the end, but of the, someone tell me, what was the black guy who was Okafor? Thank you very much. Okafor I liked him. He did a good job. He had some good charisma. And Okafor, I just wanted him to mention something like, Rick, we build up and you don't have to escape, because, with your blessing, we don't have to get your people, but we can go to your people. we can extend, resources, and they could be our off the grid, kind of a little mini alliance, your getaway. Imagine growing in a powerful position and then being able to get away to your family. It doesn't have to be true, but if he pitched something along the lines of that, he did talk about some things, but for me, what they had in there, just it didn't hit and come together. It didn't make that connection for me as a viewer. But yeah, again, Rick and his whole situation here.
This is all you have left to.
And some of their back and forth, it didn't really click with me, but I don't know. I think we'll have to see where her story goes, because some of it just feels unnecessary. It feels like they were hitting check boxes again, but we have to see where that goes, because it could lead into a really interesting direction. And it's like, oh shit. I don't know about General Beale immediately being like, does Ahsoka have something planned? It was like, yo, bro, now that he does.
To me, the episode was between good and great. The two tropes I hate is the 100-pound girl beating Rick, then later in the scene Rick proceeds to flip a 180-pound man. The second is introducing a character then killing them off in the same episode.
Phantom Knight, thank you very much for the $25 donation. Not even a donation, a tip. It's just old habit calling them donations, but I'm gonna put you up on the leaderboard. I really appreciate the tip. I forgot about doing the leaderboard, so I hope Cody's not angry with me. Sorry, Cody. It's been so long, I totally forgot. But we're gonna put Phantom Knight. I should put 25 here so people know, in case anyone. I don't think many people care to break a thing, but if you go up on the leaderboard, you got to beat 25 for a tip. But all the tip money goes into the channel to pay. At this point, it's being saved for a new PC, because I need something that's a bit beefier to edit better. And then after that, I do want to put the support into an editor for more and more content. This year, I'm working on content I love. So it's slow, but we're getting there finally. Because I've been wanting to do it for years, but I struggled trying to make money from YouTube and then also do what I love. So right now, I'm working a full-time job, which supports me. And then the YouTube is just anything I love we're doing. So anyway, thank you very much, Phantom Knight. And I do agree. I'll touch base on your two tropes. I talked about it briefly, but yeah, the whole flipping people, especially the way they did it, it's like 1970, 1980 martial arts, where that's not how martial arts works. You're going to snap their arm before you flip them. And it doesn't look the greatest. It looks flashy, but it does look like, fake TV fighting. And I want them to calm down, because it just doesn't look good. Another trope that you had mentioned is killing the character. Now there, I'm going to play devil's advocate, because I think it really depends on how much time you have to tell the story. And we're going to get to that one in a minute, because it has to do with the ending, which I love. I did love the ending. I'm curious to see if you guys would have liked Michonne cutting off his hand, though, in the end. Like, am I tripping, or would that have been some badass shit? That would have been dark. So Rick has this plan, and he fucks his plan up. The plan, it seems like it was one of those where it might work, but come on, Rick, that's a little bit on the nose. But his plan is screwed up by some little girl that he has to go save now. And this is the moment where Okafor tells him about the information he had on his family. They have this scene that some of the dialogue for me didn't quite match up. He even kicks him in the teeth, and the guy just eats it. That was nothing. I think right here. Oh, no, he punched him. But he's going to kick him in the teeth, and he just eats that shit like it's nothing. Some of this stuff, like, just stop doing. Like, you can play something off, like, have him stomp on his knee or something where it's like, oh, you fucker, But the whole punching in the face, like, I don't know. Some of it looks fucked. I wish I could. Yeah, right here. Is this it? Yeah, it just kicks him right in the face. Like, come on, man. Now, keep in mind, this is something where it's not leading into anything like a beef. They do squabble a little, but they patched it up and have a weird bro hug at the end of their conversation. I like a lot of I do like a good chunk of the dialogue and what they're doing. Some of Rick's dialogue here is where it gets clunky, where yeah, his daughter is after his wife.
My life is my choice.
And it comes off as that. And if they were able to tighten that up some, I would dig it. And it sounds like Okafor's the person who bombed, multiple different cities and he kills his wife. Now, I might have to rewatch that because for me it felt like that was written in there to be like this whole shit moment. But just in its reveal or maybe the delivery, something was missing for me where I didn't get what he was saying. Like his wife, it sounded like he said his wife didn't want to go through with it, but then she did and he had to kill her to save people. And, I might have misheard it a little bit because I had got up, I was doing something at the time. And I didn't care to like rewind it to double check because it came off as they wanted something that was like, oh, deep. Even like Rick, he tells a cool story in the helicopter. But they do like this over emotional, like my father in the barn. And it's cool. I like the story. It gives us a glimpse into Rick and who he was growing up. However, I think they go like over emotional when they tell these stories. And this isn't a Walking Dead problem. This is like a TV and movie problem where they tell a story from the past and they're like moved to emotions. Like you can move us to emotions without having the characters being all like overly emotional. Just a little nag about that. And I don't know what he's doing with these letters. I mean, they've got to be sweeping his office, his, living areas. And even if they're not, I don't know how they would keep their people in check, because for everyone they're looking at, they have to have a probation officer to rip the room apart and search their room. Imagine doing that to multiple different survivors. It just seems like a task. There's hundreds of thousands of survivors, don't forget. So here's this settlement that he built with her and some others. And keep in mind how much work he would have had to put in to go from nothing to building this up. And now it's snowing. I love this little view here. Kind of reminds me of King War for Planet of the Apes. But look at this military installation here. This community that he helps build up. He's got to be involved in so much different shit to get this operational in a year. There's so much shit he had to have done and taken part in.
To help save the world, even if you don't know.
We got more of the stupid dream. I fast forward this. I will say this. Skimming back through it again, I think I'm overly excited because Rick is back, and it's so good seeing Andrew Lincoln back as Rick. It's so good watching something that is like good Walking Dead content, current day. However, I feel like when I rewatch this episode, depending on where it goes and where these characters go in the future, I don't know if I'm going to be as fond. I feel like as I rewatch it a couple times, I think my score might go from a like 8 out of 10 to a 7 out of 10. Still recommended, still higher up there, but I just have this inkling that some of my hype is going to die down. Now, the ending I really loved.
Okay, we got a new barn.
He tells this story about his father that I talked about, and then suddenly
It just rocked me.
they get this attack, if I can see a little part of it. This attack, though, a couple points. Here's where, and I talk about budget on TV shows a lot, especially the Walking Dead later seasons. Here's where the budget, what's a good way to put it? The restrictions of the budget helped in the moment because they did it in a clever way. And they kept the camera. They didn't cheat any outside shots. Because again, the reason they didn't do it is I bet my life on it. It was budget. They could pretend it was creative. It was budget. Because those shots would have cost a fuck ton of money. They're in a helicopter. And here's another thing that I love that's cool and small. Rick woke up from a coma, entered the zombie apocalypse, and there was a helicopter there. There's been multiple times where there's a helicopter. If only he had a pilot. Rick Grimes knows how to fly a fucking helicopter now. Just a little thing that I dig, and it's something big they can do. Who knows where the story's gonna go, but it's fucking cool. Anyway, so then this moment happens. You have, and it's kept all inside the cockpit of the helicopter. I don't think the helicopter crashes the way a chopper does, because choppers, they tend to like, fall down. I could be wrong, but it looked like they had it crash like a plane, like zoom forward. Sure, it's moving. It could potentially, but from helicopters just seem like they want to sputter out, and even when they go down, they go down. But small complaint, because the rest of it was fucking cool.
For this force, Rick. I know you're the right thing for this plan.
I think this is where he's like, I'm in. And then
I'll tell you one more secret.
I want to get a little clip of it.
You'll know.
Now he gets shot up. And I'm trying to see what that was. It was like a little bolt with a bomb on it. Not sure how it blew up all of him. Small criticism here. And none of Rick. Didn't injure Rick. Didn't give him shrapnel. It didn't take out some hearing. Rick's ears aren't fucking... Well, he's got a headpiece on. But how cool would it have been if it is an explosion, but maybe it explodes like his whole chest cavity out and is fucking nasty, but it literally blows him away totally. And I think it would have been funner. I think it would have been funner if it just blew like most of his torso away. And you can also see how Rick didn't get injured, because this is a bit much. I loved it though. But it is a little cartoony. Like the dude, everything blew up but his dick. His dick is in the chair. Everything else is gone. This guy blew up into a cloud of bloody dust, And I love this moment. And again, keeping with the restrictions of the budget, they are staying inside the chopper. And I fucking love that. So now the camera sways, blows up, sways back this way to Rick, focuses on him, does another explosion. I think this one's inside too. Yeah, Okafor is KIA. That's fucking scary shit though. Yeah, it has that look like it's coming down. A small thing. I could be totally wrong. I'm not a helicopter expert, but they get out, and this is kind of cool because they run for their lives. But it's cool, but it is rushed a little. They get out, they shoot into the woods, and then just blow up, and they're on the ground. And then some mysterious person is coming. We already know who it's going to be, but she's slitting throats, and she gets up to Rick and rips off his mask, and it's him, and they end it there. I kind of wanted something, like this is them just looking at each other. I kind of wanted it to be some sort of contact. Like, I'm not talking about kissing or making out or fucking bending her over a tree stump here, but we're talking about anything where it's like, even small, like she had reached out to him, kind of still in shock, maybe even touches his hand and it's like his fake hand or something. And there's that hesitation. Cause again, this is Rick. And then she touches a hand and it's not like a human hand. It's not a real hand. It's a metal. And she's like, what the fuck? And then end on that. I kind of was looking, and again, I'm not talking about a romantic connection for an ending. They already have that. They're together, but some sort of connection for an ending I thought might have been missing a little bit. I'm cool. It's still, because this is a shock. These are characters who have been away from each other for 10 years. So you know, it's shocking, and they're in that moment where it's like, I'm just glad one of them didn't get up and run away like, oh, you know, they've done that in some little shows where people are apart from each other, and then one of them is like, no, it can't be you, and they fucking run away like a nitwit. Anyhow, so that was the...
Take you as far as you need.
That might be the gun that blows up the chopper. And it looks like something that they invented for the show. You know, based in reality, possibly they could have taken a gun that's like a military, you know, grenade launcher. But they're in a helicopter all the way in the sky. They're shooting that, you know, little... It's going to arc. It's not going to... You know what I mean? I don't even know if that's capable of piercing the metal of a helicopter. We'll have to see how they play this off. But the gun thing is a little bit like... It's Hollywood shit, you know? And it's like, I just saw what's something where some politician was like, you know, guns bad, rah rah. And then they were like, do you know which one is a machine gun? And the person points to like a paintball gun, and they were like, this one. It's like, that's a paintball gun. It's kind of like that. Like Hollywood, they're not the brightest when it comes to guns, so they do some stupid shit. Anyway, that's my thoughts and opinions on the episode. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. And this is why I talk about reviewing stuff in my flaw versus awe style, because what happens is you'll be excited when something's over. It ends really cool, so you're on a high
Getting to
note.
see Rick Grimes killing walkers, flying choppers, getting all emotional, just his presence is exactly what I needed. So excited for the season and the streams.
Thank you very much, Veronica. A fucking $75 tip. And that's what I was getting at, too. I want to get to your tip and give you a thank you as well. Actually, I think I'm going to cover pretty much what you said in your tip. Let me put you on the leaderboard. I ended up on such a high that I just saw Travis's Death and Fear. You know what? I was going to mention Travis's Death and Fear. They both died in a helicopter. They both died getting shot at. And I like Travis's death. I said this rewatching it. It's a brutal death. But it's different enough for me. But boy, is it similar. And Walking Dead, you know how they love to repeat their shit. But going back to, I ended on such a high note because, just like Veronica mentioned, getting Rick back and having the beginning of this journey with these characters, we've been waiting years just to pick up with where did Rick go and what's happening to Rick and yada, 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 that it's such a high note. And the helicopter crash, Rick and Michonne like meeting right in the first episode. And I just have this little twinge that if they don't seal the deal, although I am high up there, rewatching it, it might not as last as far as it might not stay as high. And that's why I do like that flaw versus all, because you take everything that you like and you don't like, regardless of you ending really excited. I mentioned I left Rogue One super excited because at the very, very end, Darth Vader kicks some ass, and it's fucking amazing. It's probably the first time you saw like Darth Vader, you know, in cinema at that time, just be a total badass. And I left on such a high that totally changed, because as I rewatched it one or two more times, I only like the ending. There's a lot I don't like with that movie, but Charter Remains, thank you very much for becoming, I don't know why it says sponsor. I'm going to have to fix that, but thank you very much for becoming a member of the channel and supporting through membership. I appreciate that. And back to Veronica, though, massive thank you for the tip. I appreciate it. It's going to help a lot with the channel moving forward. And I'm going to be here.
I totally agree that Rick's best chance for escaping is by reinventing his position within the CP. Do you think Rick
Yeah.
realized it was potentially his group involved in the destruction of the other outpost? So glad to be back watching your streams.
I'm gonna be here to real quick to finish up what I was saying with Veronica. My excitement is high enough where I'm definitely gonna be here at every Sunday for all six of them. I don't know what other style review we're gonna do. I would love to in the future do a couple more new and different Flaw vs. All, like the like season 7 episode 1. Just random, and we'll see where it goes because I still want to do a lot of movies. But thank you so very much, Veronica. And as far as the tip that just came in from John Kurtz, thank you very much for the tip. When it comes to Rick thinking his group destroyed the other community, I didn't get the feeling that he thought that at all. Now, do you mean like his family group, or do you mean like his group, his new group in the CRM? Because I don't think he thought his family. That's a 90,000 large community in Omaha. You know what I'm saying? I don't even think Rick thought it for a second. If the show made it seem like he did, I don't get that at all. However, the CRM,
Just some more
I think
love
he's
for the
suspect.
channel. The Michonne and Rick encounter, you predicted it in her last episode in the original show. I think you said Rick will be a soldier in the CRM and that he will encounter Michonne on the battlefield.
Get the fuck out of here. Did I really? I gotta go back and check that out. I talk a lot of shit though, you know. I'm bound to get something that lines up. That's a cool aspect. That is a cool aspect. Having, I mean, it is what it is now. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, man, the shit they could have done, like, they could have really warped it. But we don't know where the next 4 episodes or 5 episodes are gonna go. Here's the thing though. The next episode is going to be Michonne centric. We know this for a number of reasons. One, it makes sense to focus on Michonne leading up to Rick, and then hopefully not ending and going into them reunited in episode 3, because then I got the feeling they're doing Rick in 1, Michonne in 2, General Beale in 3, and then they're reunited in 4, the big event in 5. Oh no, they're in trouble. In 6, they break free and they head home. I hope it's not like broken up like that, but we know it's most likely Michonne centric because that's how The Walking Dead preserves its budget. That is a trademark of The Walking Dead, breaking kind of the stress of having to write it with these 2 characters right away, where they can fall back now and do Michonne quick lead up. You cover her story. And
where does Rick Grimes rank in your top fictional characters?
Where's Rick Grimes? Let me see. Where does Rick Grimes rank? Rick Grimes is top fictional. Well, I have to say this. These are tricky ones where it's like the characters that are returned frequently. Like Rick has multiple episodes, multiple seasons on a TV show. He's got his own series now. And then in the comic book, the Rick Grimes character is like, there's characters like this that have so much. In the comic, he's got hundreds of issues, and same thing like Spider-Man, Batman. But how do I compare them to characters that I only see once for like 40 minutes of a movie? Like McCready in The Thing. I love The Thing. Or Marty McFly in Back to the Future. There's 3 movies. They might have made a couple comics. But my point, though, is it's hard to kind of break it apart and pick, because if I pick all these characters I love, there's a ton of them. You got Rick Grimes, you got Laura Croft, you got Marty McFly, you got McCready, Edward Scissorhands, Eric Draven from The Crow, you got Ellie Williams, Joel from The Last of Us Part 1. Part 2 doesn't exist. But if I had to pick like some of my recurring all-time favorites, Rick is definitely in my top 10. Absolutely. I would have to put I would have to put almost definitely in the top 10. And even still, if you took all characters, he's probably up there still up there in the top 10. So fuck, it doesn't matter. I would say top 5 recurring, top 10 of all characters. Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. Thank you very much for the tip. And Ryan, did you think Rick will end up going back to CRM and not going? Wait, Ronnie, do you think Rick will end up going back to the CRM and not going with Michonne to escape? You know, there's a potential for them to do that. I hope they don't. And I think I'm biased because I so hope they don't. That's a very overused and generic way to what's a good trauma separate characters, and then they have to fight to get back. They've done it multiple times, even in Days Gone. Like, it's not, they find each other. Like, this is very much The Walking Dead Days Gone, you know, because the two couples split up in the zombie apocalypse, and they find each other a year or two later, or a couple years later. And it's very much like that. In that, it wasn't like, oh my God, we found each other. It was like, oh my God, wait, hold on. There's all this shit going on. I have to finish this, blah, blah, blah. And I could probably, if I sit here, think about a number of other shows that do the same thing, or shows or movies. I don't want him to do that. Is there a chance he does it? Probably. Fuck me, man. No, I don't want him to go back to the CRM. And if he does, I will be very frustrated, because there's no reason unless... And here's the thing. The first episode didn't do an amazing job at setting up, Rick and Michonne meet. And then Rick is like, Michonne, here's what's going on. I have an opportunity. I'm gaining power in this organization. I have to go back. If he goes back and he doesn't let her know what's going on, fucking hate it. But if he approaches it like that, I give it a little bit of room to work itself out. Because that, I'm fine. If he tells Michonne, like, dude, the shit we can do with this community, or the lives we can save with this, you know what I mean? We'll see. We'll see. The Walking Dead is like a bad video game. You get good cutscenes, but the story is long and boring. A show fails when you find yourself forward through the episode or looking at your phone. Yeah, I mean, I agree a show fails when you're fast forwarding. Definitely agree there. Walking Dead, though, you're going to have to... Do you mean, like, the entire franchise now?
Do you think they will kill Rick at the end of this season? In my opinion, that would be a terrible decision.
I think that's a horrible decision. Mr. Sir, thank you very much for the tip. I think that's a horrible decision. There's always a chance to kill him off. But I'm going to have to take the... I'm going to have to just go for it and say no. Because with him alive and with the actor... in good graces with the company, there's always a chance for them to make money off of Rick Grimes. It doesn't make logical sense to kill him off. Also, to bring the story back after faking his death, I say faking his death, but you know what I mean. Faking his death for the characters, not us, we're in the know, and then moving him to his own show after a hiatus to only really kill him off. It's something they did with Glenn. I don't mind. A lot of fans mind. I think it would be stupid for them to do it, and I hope they don't do it. I haven't seen the episode yet. Did you like it? Yes, I liked it, Henry. I recommend it. Just say your top 10? My top 10. Do you think Rick will convince Michonne to help overthrow the CRM like Okafor wanted, or do you think he'll try to go home? If home, the previous plot seems pointless. That's why I think there's a chance Rick is going back to work with the CRM. Because we have all this set up, it explains, Rick's journey and what he's been doing. So that could be the writer's explanation for why it's so much of the focus, because now we're in the know and we can see what he was doing. But it's also wasted if they abandon what they set up. So that's why I think there's a chance that Rick is going to go on to work with the... Because what's the story? They run away while the CRM chases him down. Why are the CRM chasing him down? All those people were attacked and blown up and dead. Rick could fake his death here. This is the perfect chance for Rick to fake his death. And there's no way they don't buy it, because look at what fucking happened. They blew up the damn helicopter. Would they go after Rick and them? Good fucking luck. Do you know where to go? Now, here's the thing. Jadis is in the camp. She knows where the other survivors are. So, with Jadis being back at the installation, knowing that in the trailer there's a scene of Rick and Jadis, or it was a promotional first look or something of Rick facing off with Jadis, Rick has to go back to the CRM. Because we've already seen a part in the trailer. It doesn't make sense story-wise because Jadis will tell them where Rick's family is and they'll go and kill them all before Rick gets back. So Rick has to, at this point, yeah, I'm going with he has to return to the CRM. He doesn't have a choice. Jadis, I forgot about her actually. Jadis is still back there. So I hope they just don't do it in a stupid way. Like not telling Michonne, you know? And not to mention, this is ridiculous. Instead of meaningful moments, we get this farce. It's an insult to their journey. They survived walkers, not to dance with rodents. Absolute nonsense. Well, it'd be helpful, a little XL, if you pick, instead of being general, like, everything sucks, you want to pick out what moment, you know what I mean, that specifically, so we can have a deeper discussion about it, because I can understand, like, yeah, man, I'm not feeling this. But to say like it's absolute trash, an insult to their journey, I don't know if I'd go, not yet. I don't know if I'd go that far. Because keep in mind, I'm going with the notion that, yes, we already know he was taken by the CRM. That's already accepted. Did I like that originally? I don't like the CRM. I don't like the Commonwealth. I think they're big, they're boring, and I want to move away from it. Would Negan make your top 10? That's a good question. I don't know if Negan would make my top 10. Comic Negan is a strong contender, but TV show Negan, as much as I really like Jeffrey Dean Morgan, he's Jeffrey Dean Negan. You know what I mean? And you lose the Negan appeal to a degree because he's Jeffrey Dean Negan, And I think comic Negan would be higher on the scale, whereas Rick in comic and show would probably be tied.
One thing I think I have to praise this spin-off for is for doing something different within the Walking Dead universe. I think The Walking Dead has made some cliché choices in seasons 6 to 11 that may have felt cheap or unnecessary. Loved this episode.
Thank you very much, John Kurtz, for another tip. And I want to see. Okay, just make sure I didn't miss any. But as far as, let me pull my thing back up here. As far as where they went with the episode, I do agree with you. There was only so much they could have done. Like we've talked about this before, predicting what's going to happen. There's only so much we know Rick's going to reunite with Michonne. We know, there's so much of this that we know because that is the story we're getting. It would be terrible if we get, the story opens up and Rick goes on to learn how to tap dance to cope with his trauma. And then he uses tap dancing to lure walkers, to something. And he learns how to, I don't know, think of something stupid that has nothing to do. Like, that's not what we signed up for. We signed up for him within the CRM, reuniting with Michonne. So we know certain aspects will definitely happen. And unfortunately, it makes some of it predictable. So within the world of CRM, I do like that they went with, and again, they're sticking within the guidelines of what was already there. I don't give a shit about the world beyond. They kept that in there, and that's fine because it's part of the world building. That's cool. But they have this, it's not like they're forced to only write that specific story, but they had that foundation built up and they couldn't deviate too much. But I do like where they went. I like the concept of Rick building power, especially after hearing that. I don't think the presentation was a home run, just because of how Rick was kind of like, I give up, I failed, you know? And it was like, man, he's like, I don't want the power. And then it should have dawned on him, like, with the power, then I could do what I couldn't have done without the power. You know what I mean? Well, I hope they have more story. I don't want them to drag out the CRM to season 2, but I want more story. Ronnie, I went to an early screening in New York. There was a panel with Andy, Denai, Scott, and Andy made a joke saying he dies in the last episode. At least I think it was a joke. If he joked about it, I don't think it's going to happen. If he did die, I don't think he would mention it, you know? Is The Thing in your top 5 best horror movies ever made? The Thing is my top horror movie ever made. The Thing is absolutely in my top. My very top. My top 2 favorite movies of all time is Back to the Future and The Thing. And I give them those because they're movies I can watch once or 100 times, and I never get, they always last. I love them the same every time I watch them. And I say this for The Thing. When I moved to North Carolina, I had nothing but a book bag full of clothes, and I found a VHS copy of The Thing. And every night for months, that's all I had. This is before the internet, you know what I mean? I was a young kid. I'd pop it in, you know, working in a factory during the day, come home, pop that in. And you know what? Like, I eventually started looking forward to it. Like, I can't wait to relax, pop in The Thing, and just you know what? And that's how I know that's definitely my all-time favorite. If you didn't write that comment, I don't know what that means. Did someone clone you? Waiting for Jadis to come back and meet Father Gabriel. I wonder whether Father G would still clap them cheeks. Yeah, Jadis. I gotta be honest. I'm not looking forward to Jadis entering the story. I think she has a stupid haircut. Thoughts on Book of Carol trailer? It's okay. That we've gotten that trailer before. It's not a new one. I think the Book of Carol title is stupid. I think the idea of Carol going all the way across the ocean looking for Daryl is stupid, but that's more of a fantasy now, that show. They have a kid who can fucking, you know, some miracle birth bullshit. Fuck out of here. Daryl Dixon TV show sucks. It doesn't suck. I'm just being a dick. But the Steelbook sucks. That's what I meant to say. The Steelbook for season 1, I was going to buy it anyhow, you know, just to have a Walking Dead in my collection for Daryl Dixon. But my God, that is lazy, low to no effort. But all they did is they took a picture of Daryl Dixon, and then they did a slider with high contrast. They cut out the fucking color, and they did that, like, there's a name for it, where it's like that contrasted, fuzzy kind of picture. And then they threw multi-rainbow colors on it and called it a fucking day. Not like rainbow, but it's, you know, purples and blues, and it looks fucking terrible. The shows won't merge. I'd eat my hat, says Musey. I like to call back to Days Gone By with the episode names Years Gone By. Oh, you like to call back. Yeah, so this episode is, I think the episodes are, this one is Years, the next one is Gone, and the next one is By. Isn't that how it is? But yeah, I like the name, or maybe this episode alone is called Years Gone By, but I like that. The little, I saw one clip of Rick cutting off his hand. Please tell me that was a dream sequence. That did look awful, and I don't want to spoil shit for you, but yeah, that's real. So fuck it. What other, shouldn't have asked. What other shows have you been watching lately? I haven't been watching any shows lately. I know you're a fan of horror. Do you like the Saw movies? I love the first Saw movie a lot. The rest are my guilty pleasure up until like 8 or 9. And then, well, no, I think like 7. Somewhere around there. And then it's like total shit. Like Spiral. I didn't watch Saw X. I want to. And I didn't watch the other one, whatever that was. Thought the same thing. It could have been season 1. Not a fan of Jadis character. Yeah, I'm not a fan. How about the A and B situation? What's your thought on that? Yeah, the A and B stuff, to me, it's like they could flesh it out. I think it's stupid. Not stupid. they really wanted to get something to have him gone, and they wanted to make it a mystery. And I think that's where it falls apart for me. Like, I got an A, just it's just dumb. Yeah, we have the secret code name for fucking leaders and regular civilians. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about it. There's A's and B's. Now, we thought it meant leaders and people that were bitten, and like A grade quality citizens, like high quality citizens, or bitten for experiments. Now, we know they've done and they do experiments because we saw it in the world beyond. So we were thought, but now they're telling us A and B mean we have a fucking regular asshole citizen, right? Unless I missed something. And then someone who has a potential to be a leader. But then they go on to say the structure of the community keeps leaders out for fear of their, not keeps leaders out, but it keeps leaders that are connected to the outside world out because they're not controllable. You know what I'm saying? And it's just a mess. I get what they're trying to weave this, but for me it doesn't work. But it works enough if they say, okay, here it is, but we're gonna move on. So if they move on, fuck it, it is what it is. But if they want to keep it going, it doesn't make sense. Your community has hundreds of thousands of survivors. You have massive massive number in your ranks that go out and find survivors. Why the fuck would you need to trade with garbage people for one singular survivor? What the fuck logic does that make? And that's why having them be so big, it almost implodes on the writing logic. An A and a B. Oh yeah, we have 400,000 citizens, but we give a fuck. Oh hey Jadis, what are you doing? I'm just over here taking care of my 400,000 citizens separated across 3 different communities. What do you want? Oh, you have one sole survivor. Oh, he's on his deathbed. Is he an A or a B? Just kidding, bitch. That doesn't make sense. Fuck you, and then hangs up on her. Why would you even do that? Think about the logic in that. Unless someone could help me and be like, nah, you know what? They're huge, they're big, but they're losing people and they're not finding survivors. Maybe they're so desperate, they're getting worried. They're running the numbers and, they're still huge, but they're getting nervous because they keep losing people. And now they're not finding a lot of survivors. Even that's a stretch, but give us something, The idea that they would go through all those hoops to pick up in a helicopter during the fucking apocalypse a lone survivor, especially one on his deathbed, is ludicrously dumb. This shit's fucking dumb, Do I think we'll see Heath? No, just because I don't think the actor is a fan of AMC afterwards. I don't know. I mean, if they had a good working relationship, it'd be cool for the fans to get a little, taste of fan service and have Heath in there. Then fans can shut up. He doesn't have to be a major player. That would probably annoy the actor. I'm sorry, but it would be nice. Now the actor has talent, right? I mean, Heath probably should have been in there somewhere. Probably should have been the one to help Rick escape, or at least try to, and be the one to like help chop his arm off or something, I think that would have been cool. But again, you'd bring Heath in, you'd kill him off and blah, blah, blah. But I don't know. So I would have liked the leash guy to get swarmed and walkers get tangled while walking, eating, and drags Rick closer so that he has to buy. Stormy, I get what you're saying. And I really wanted something like that at first, where they had this, situation, and there was no situation. So it was a bit of a bummer. I would have liked to see something, though. I agree on Book of Carol, but I am curious whether Daryl will follow the comics path where a character finds Rick's brother. Listen, I said this about the arm. Like, there's just no point, and they cut his arm off. But I still say this about Rick's brother. There's no fucking point in Rick's brother. First off, Rick's brother, Rick having a brother in the comic is not close to the same thing as Rick having a brother on the show. So I can see them doing it just to throw it at fans, but I just have no interest in it whatsoever. Unless it's like a really cool actor and it has potential to do something more than, oh, look, Rick's brother, you know? Because it doesn't do anything. Do you all three spinoffs emerging? Wait, do you all three spinoffs merging into a new season of The Walking Dead? I'm guessing what you mean there. I hope they don't merge. No, I don't want them to merge. I do want it to wrap up when it finally does and give us a conclusion, but I don't want them to merge, because merge, would mean they combine and continue and then conclude, but we don't need that. We can continue to have the other shows and make a finale out of this. Do you want Beale to die in the series? No spoilers here. Well, I don't have spoilers for you, and if we get a second season, I want him to continue on. I like the actor. I think they could do something with it. I like Spiral, although I knew the copycat immediately. Well, thanks for the spoiler. I'm just teasing. I watched one thing of Spiral. It was a teaser where they had a guy tied up near railroad tracks, and the train goes. He's watching a TV of the guy, and the train goes and it runs him over. But when it runs him over, the TV and the table, that's all gone. And at that very moment, I knew I'm not watching that shit, His cutting his own hand was actually shocking. I was expecting someone else to cut it off, but so happy it finally happened. Well, there you go, Tony Tiger. Tony Tiger dig it. He digs it. Why let Jadis judge? She's made mistakes before. Yeah, you can talk about this episode, just not future episodes. They look at A as threats. Rick would have no choice but to go back because they know around where he's from. They just bombed 90K people. It feels like they had something different for the A and B idea, then decided on something else. You know what? I bet you what it is, Dark Emeralds, in all reality, they came up with the A and B and they weren't certain about what it was, but they knew it was going to be different groups of people. And they said, we'll figure it out later. And by the time they came around to it, they were like, yeah, man, what else could it be but like leaders and regular shitheads, And when you look at it in its totality, the writers are up against a clock of pressure. Come up with something and come up with it now. Sure, did they have a few years to write it? Yes. But there's only really so much you can do with, we have an A and a B, I would have even preferred if an A and a B meant something different and there was some other shenanigans going on with Jadis, but they ended up doing something and we're there, but it was a little different. But it is what it is. They're probably going to cripple Rick's leg as well, even though there's no point. I think that would be stupid, but maybe. Yeah, that's a good point, Dark Emeralds. Rick talking about his childhood and not mentioning a brother makes it super unlikely. It does, but Hollywood can also always squeeze that in there. But we'll see. Can you please explain the little girl who exposed Rick's plan? Where did she come from, and what's the point of her? All right, real quick, John Kurtz. That was literally just something to keep Rick from escaping. Rick was on a mission. The little girl and her family were previously living there. Her family got killed. She was the lone survivor. Think of Aliens with Newt, and instead of having aliens around, they are zombies. And she was out there, just trying to escape or walk around or get away. And she runs into Rick. For whatever reason, the zombies weren't eating her. And I think that's probably because did she have a lot of muck on her? Long story short, all that was to stop Rick from escaping, story-wise. Will they do anything with that character in the future? I doubt it, but we'll see. But there's nothing else at this point. There's nothing else there to dig into. Scott has teased multiple times that he will be surprised at which characters we see. So maybe Heath, maybe some World Beyond people, but that'd be silly. They all suck. I agree. They're probably going to cripple. Oh, I already read that. Yeah, it was a bit forced. Hopefully Morgan makes an appearance. Yeah, I hope so. I already did that one. Do you know if they increased the budget for this series? It looks better than the other spin-offs. Well, don't forget, the premiere always gets front-loaded with budget. And yes, they did increase the budget from what we know. And what we know is an estimated, I don't think it's accurate, but an estimated spending. Now, keep in mind, this isn't all budget. This is what was spent while filming in that location. That doesn't correlate to, all practical budget. But I think they said like 80 million roughly. And again, it's probably more like 65-ish, 6 episodes. And let's say around 10, mil. Now, I don't believe that. I believe it's more like 6 to 7 mil per episode. But that's only speculating based on some of the shit that AMC has done in the past. But consider this. The previously Walking Dead episodes, when they were ending, were down under 1 million. And I think even before that, it was like 1.4. I forget the numbers, but it was like around 1.2 million per episode, 1.4. And I got to go back and double check, but it was like dropping below 1 million or some shit like that. It doesn't matter, but the budget is like 5 times higher than the other seasons. Now, when you consider 16 episodes versus 6 episodes, overall, I mean, they probably match, but there's a huge difference between 16 episodes and 6 episodes. Any upcoming games? I'm looking for RoboCop. I went to Target and Walmart this weekend and somewhere else, GameStop, and neither one had RoboCop. I was going to buy it so then I could just stream it right away. I was going to stream it yesterday a little bit, but I couldn't find it. I even went out today and I couldn't find it. I want to play that game. And when some other games go on sale, I want to grab them up. But yeah, I do want to start doing at least 1 or 2 gaming streams a week just to kind of cool down and hang out. But RoboCop is probably the one I want to play next. His brother was a junkie. Rick probably doesn't like to remember him even in the comics. I don't remember the show brother being a junkie. Is that real? Any fans know what's up with Rick in the show? Rick's brother? I didn't even know he had a brother in the show. I'll be honest with you. I thought the brother in the show was never nothing, I hope when Rick and Michonne finally get a chance to talk, I hope she gets him up to date with everything that happened. Like, oh yeah, Negan saved your daughter. Haha. It would be amazing to hear, because that's a different aspect. A lot of times writers in Hollywood lose sight of how a character reacts to information, because then we can see, like a more organic interaction. And my screen just went. Well, maybe you guys can't see it, but I have a nighttime thing to keep the screen, but it's orange on my thing, but maybe you guys don't see it. But anyhow, that would be cool. Plus, in the future, that's just a little thing. I quit smoking cigarettes years ago, so every now and again I was puffing on a little menthol. And then if he ever runs into the character again, we know it's with this new knowledge, but the other character doesn't know that the character that wanted to kill him so bad has this new knowledge. There's a more interesting dynamic, in my opinion, if we see Michonne telling him, and we want to see his reaction. So I hope they do something similar to that. Exactly how you felt. Since since we did not get talented Andrew reacting to the whispers, I'd love to see his reaction to a running one. I also want a damn good reaction to a new and improved Negan. Yeah, these are things I definitely want reactions to as well, but we'll just have to see what we get, to be honest. Um, Ethan Bishop asked, I thought the episode was good. I'm not sure what they realistically could do better. Well, I think the pacing could have been handled better. Some of the dialogue could have been tightened up. There was a number of spots where they added so much exposition that made it feel clunky, and it wasn't an organic way that people talk to each other. Like, hey, chat, we've sat down to have this very same stream 349 times every single Sunday since the first time I started doing this way back in July of whatever, fucking whatever. Like, people don't talk like that. People talk like that on TV shows so the audience can play catch up on their past. That's something they could have made better. They could have. I like the ending. They could have added something with the helicopter and the crash and made it kind of like a visual spectacle, especially in the post-apocalypse. That's just an addition, though. I'm fine with how they did it inside. I thought it was actually nice and tight, and they also could have done some touch-ups where it wasn't ridiculous martial arts, but more realistic martial arts, because this show is supposed to be more grounded. The explosion as well, go for some of that, because it's weird. You blow up the guy's body and guts are all over, and there's a huge hole in his chest, and it's gore to the max. But you blow him up totally, and it's just blood. So I think that's why they didn't go with the gore, but it would have been nice touching up some of those, because you got this explosion that literally annihilated a body 2 feet away from Rick, and he's unharmed. It looks cartoonish. They could have tightened that up. They also could have tightened up at least the story around his hand cutting scene, get rid of the the dreaming scenes. I don't mind the writing. It would have been nice if we had something, though, with the writing. Like, if there was, some attempt to get it out there, but it's for the fans. It's for the viewers. It's not for Michonne, because he's going to run into her anyway. But anyway, just some of my opinions. I don't think they need to do this, but I was just like, and again, I'm not like snapping like this is what they could have done better. You asked, I answered, and again, it doesn't mean I'm right either. Doesn't mean the episode needed any of those corrections. Just adding to your comment, though. I bet somehow the summit of the leaders that is supposed to take place will have Hornsby at it. I think that works out in the timeline still. You know what? I've lost track of the timeline. I am not sure. But I don't know why Hornsby would be there, though. Commonwealth, I might be messing this up, but the Commonwealth isn't connected with the CRM. So why would Hornsby be there? Again, I could be mixing it up, but the stupid horn spear. Yeah, I'm not smoking THC. Nothing against it, but. And no, I don't want to spoiler Thomas. Yeah, I don't want to spoil it. When there's a show I like, I just can't fathom checking out a spoiler because I want to experience it. I know for some fans, like when they like something, they want to like, and my brain for years has not been able to make that connection as to why fans do that. Like when you're excited about something, why do you like ruin what's coming? I just don't understand that. When I don't give a shit about a show, I will look at a spoiler hoping whatever information is there interests me enough to maybe check it out. And, sometimes it does. And sometimes it doesn't. Most times it doesn't. But I just can't fathom why anyone wants to watch. That's me personally, though. I just can't fathom. I'm interested in this show. I don't want spoilers. Thank you, though. Do you think they'll spend any time having Michonne tell Rick everything that happened after he left? A lot of it, yeah. And here's the thing: is we don't need all of that time. We just need to see them together discussing it, and um, show that time has passed, like them sitting and eating and they're finishing their meal, and have her talking about and Negan. I gotta tell you about Negan, and maybe he talks something about like oh my god, like Judith really with your sword and my gun or whatever running around, like my god, like how's she look and blah blah blah, like do something like that, and then she's like, and then Negan, and then we go into that so we can see his reaction, but we know he's gotten a lot more knowledge about what's going on. I hate the lazy writing crutch of, well, the truth is, yeah, unfortunately, there are some of those cliches in this episode where it relies on that. Here's why I'm keeping you alive when I clearly should have killed you multiple times already. Some of that I get why people are like, oh, man, I don't like that, and it's understandable. But I think for me in this episode, I'm not leaning, but going easy on it when it comes to some of those cliches, because I want so much of the other stuff to just to be good, to iron out some of these wrinkles, and then the rest to be good, I worded that so poorly, but I'm running with it. Could you see a scenario where Rick runs the CRM and Daryl and Negan are his lieutenants? I could see that on a character level, but not on we don't have time for that shit, but who shot at the helicopter? At this point in time, from what we know with the trailer and Michonne having that weapon, we're led to believe Michonne and, whoever she's with did it, which I'm not going to say anything because I think I'm right as fuck. But I think we're going to see Michonne's story. We've already seen in the trailer, Michonne is running from that mustard gas. And I think something bad is going to happen with Michonne and her group. And she's just so furious because that was the different Michonne. That was like I'm out to murder someone. That's not I could be totally wrong about this, but that's not like I'm looking for Rick. That's I'm looking for some prick that has done me dirty, and I'm looking for him and I find Rick, that is that look. And I'm kind of excited about that. I like that concept. That's how it felt when I watched it. I don't want to get into spoilers, but that's just like if I could do a mini prediction, that's my prediction where we see Michonne and her journey. She has a run-in with the CRM. It's bad. She's pissed. She attacks, the next CRM she finds. She's looking for some Lieutenant Dick, and she runs into Rick while she was looking for the Dick. Well, that's wow. That makes sense. She looks, yeah. She is looking that can work both ways. Yeah, she's looking for Rick and she's looking for the Dick and she finds Rick, or she's looking for Rick and she finds the Dick. It works both ways. Anyhow, enough about that, because I don't want to get into predictions just in case I'm even accidentally right. How many seasons should a spinoff go for? I think 2 or 3, and then Gipple said they could do their end game. I'm good with 2 or 3. My biggest worry is, okay, Okafor is dead. He knew where Rick was from and his people. Jadis knows. If she dies, I hope they don't think, okay, that's everyone who knows will escape. And, I think it's kind of bigger than that. But we'll have to see how. Because, again, we don't know all the players yet. The heat of the government shut down felt like a rock, but they were basically tin cans. Oh! Thank you for the super chat, Jake.
$20 from Jake Therian, long-time listener. Thanks for your thoughts.
Oh, thank you very much for the support. I'm glad you're hanging out for a long time. Hope you hang out for a long more time. I appreciate that a lot. Q&A, Rick being sent to the Cascades to build that base in the Pacific Northwest. Do you think that's in preparation for a possible conflict with Portland community? I think it could be for anything. I wasn't even thinking about location. I wasn't thinking about what the use is for. Um, just because I wasn't sure if that's going to be something we see now or we see set up for the future. But um, I feel like they're leaving themselves open for whatever storyline could be coming ahead. But it's possible. I just don't know what we would get out of that conflict story wise. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so huge. Would it just be them worried about this huge community that they don't even know of? I guess that's where my thinking is. Like, we don't give a fuck. We don't know this community. We're not going to see it, unless we do see some part of it. I mean, maybe that would work out cool. Book of Carol. Carol will probably tell Daryl that CRM came back, revealed from the broken up radio call, and blew up Commonwealth since Hornsby is dead, as Hornsby had CRM ties. How did Hornsby have CRM ties? Like, I'm totally forgetting CRM ties. Where's his CRM ties? Refresh my memory, because I know I wasn't in love with the finale of The Walking Dead, so I might have totally, you know. Michonne is in her own clear mode. Facts. With the crossbow with Negan. Wait. Maggie walking up on Rick, patting him on the shoulder. Then Alexandria OG group is intense. That reminds Rick of the prisoner tense. I don't know what the fuck I just read, to be honest. Are you smoking that THC vape? No, so true. That was walking around with her husband, brother Walker version of Michonne when she saw Rick again. Let me go down a little. Do you want next season to be longer? Yes, but not crazy. I think 16 is too long. I think 12 is where the money is. Season 2 was 12 to 13 episodes. I think that rocks. 6 and 6, 12 episodes for The Walking Dead it's so fitting. It's not short and it's not long and dragged out. 12 it hits. I think 12 is where it's at. They could do like a bonus 13, but I think 12 is money. 13 just because I like the number, but I'm happy with it. I think that is fitting. 12. Let's do 12. 13 I like the number, but it's too close to 16. It's only three less, but 12 is fire. Crack my back. CRM seems to have some connection to the group in France. Thoughts, Ronnie? I don't know. I mean, outside of just, I don't have anything to add other than if there's connections, the connections are with experimentation, and that's it. I mean, as far as anything else, it's just blind speculation on how much they want to introduce in the show. But I think it would be tied to the experiments, Since World Beyond trailer, have we heard anything about Magenta Horde? Wasn't that the Horde they, fake used for the Omaha? Didn't they send them in there? Just how carefully they crafted the story. Okay, now I gotta watch. What are we watching? Voiceovers normally annoy me, but it works to get you up to speed. Yeah, I'm not against voiceovers. I think voiceovers and they say not to do. There's something in screenwriting, I forget, where they don't want you to do voiceovers, and that's only because new writers or shitty writers use voiceovers to save the writing, and it is terrible, But a lot of great stories have voiceover work, like Shawshank Redemption. If it's done right, it comes out well. I'm going to end the poll because I do need to finish up so I can get some sleep for work tomorrow. As it is, I'm only going to get like 6 hours sleep if I fall asleep right this fucking second. But the poll was 66% great, 25% good. If you add that up, you're going to get 90? No fucking way. You're going to get a 91%. So how's that 7? Did I do bad math there? So that's 11. 6, 7, 8, 9. 91. So how is that 7? That'd be 98. So there's 2% missing. It must be broken down into fractions. So 2% is scattered into the fractions of the others. That's probably how it boils down. But still, if you look at 91% voted positive for this episode, I can see that. I could definitely see that. Even with the stuff that I complained about, I was interested the vast majority of the time. I was eager. I was into the characters, into the concept of what was going on. I was excited for what was coming. I was sad that it ended. I wanted more. I wanted the next episode. So I am definitely, and again, it really matters on, because if the next 4 or 5 episodes suck, then this episode's going to suck. Because when you rewatch it, it doesn't connect to anything because everything sucks. But if the next episodes are this or a little better, man, you know what? We're in for at least a solid, 6 episode spinoff. 12 sounds good? Yeah. Hornsby said he had powerful friends if he was taken out. I was just joking on blowing up Commonwealth. Part of it just don't see Magna and some of the other characters. Yeah, when Hornsby made that comment, Hornsby made a comment to Pamela that if anything happened to him, yeah, I don't see that as the CRM. The writers can pretend that's the CRM all day long, but don't forget, Hornsby had his secret network inside the Commonwealth. He had his own secret agents, his own money men that was on his side, not the governor's. Those were shadow people in the Commonwealth. And again, they could pretend it's the CRM afterwards, but I don't buy that. For me, he was talking about people in the Commonwealth, and yes, it didn't feel like it because that's one problem The Walking Dead does as a writing team. These big communities, they don't flesh them out. We don't need to see every fucking character in there, but we need to know that, like Boardwalk Empire, behind this, Atlantic City, there's a group of, rich old men that run shit, and they only show them in a couple quick scenes. They have a little meeting, in season 2, I think. They tease about it. They have a meeting. They're not really in depth, but this the political structure and the hierarchy has, shadow men, wealthy men, money men, and there's a breakdown in positions of power. And they did it quick, and they did it good. You could have done something with that with Commonwealth. They didn't do anything, not even close. But I think that's who Hornsby was talking about, me personally. Unless you see a Commonwealth map in his hands, or he's talking to a CRM soldier or a CRM map. If he had a secret CRM pin, if you can show me a visual of them interacting, I mean, if it's not there, then in my opinion, it's just not there. But fans can think whatever they want if it helps you enjoy it more. Is the Commonwealth in Portland? No, the Commonwealth is not in Portland. The Commonwealth should be in it should be on the East Coast, but I don't know how far out. I'm not sure if we even got a specific destination. It's hours away from Virginia. And damn, I think we did get a close concept of where it was, but it's nowhere near. I mean, it's on the East Coast because they travel back and forth. It takes a few hours, but I think it might even take a day or two. But you can go from Virginia, Alexandria, to the Commonwealth. I'm starting to think of different names for the communities. There's so many different ones, but yeah. So no, it's not. The Commonwealth is nowhere near Portland. I don't know if it just made me, but the show into credits and the maps. Wait, I don't know if it's just me, but the show's intro credits with the maps, locations, and style reminds me of the beginning of any Godzilla movie. I like it though. Oh, like the destruction aspect of it? Yeah. All right, last couple comments. What direction would you like the show to go towards? Here's the thing. I don't like the CRM. I would like, that to be dealt with and go back to them and survivors and yada yada. But whatever. The CRM is there. They've already invested into it. I want to see this Rick rise in power and to use something with the CRM. I mean, it would even be amazing to see some, some second tragedy follow and wipe out a good chunk of the CRM. Who knows? But for right now, I would like that to play at least somewhat of the story, because then you could do some interesting shit with the storyline if you really think about it. And again, look at the setup and then think, let me write a cool zombie story in this world and go back to its roots. I think that would be fucking awesome. Might be totally stupid, but why did Rick have a phone, and why did he burn his hand after chopping it off? Well, he burned his hand to stop the bleeding. They do that in movies. It doesn't always work. It's often, what's one paramedic had mentioned it. I'm not going to remember it now, but they do it in movies. But if it's something like an artery, what did he say? A paramedic told me something about, like, if it's an artery, you want it to pack gauze. If it's anything in the lung, you want to stop the air or something like that. But they do cauterize wounds. But again, if it's something like that, you don't want to cauterize it. But that's Hollywood shit. I forget what the fuck he said now. Anyway, as far as the phones, I don't fucking know why he's got cell phones, bro. When Rick first met his friend in the park, when talking about water plant in that long shot with the city background, was it me or did the scene look very pixelated? I watched on my phone, so it was a tiny picture. Thanks for a stream. Missed these. Hopefully see you next Sunday. Yeah, hell yeah. Next Sunday for sure. Unless I get hit by a bus or cut my own arm off. We'll see. Commonwealth is in Ohio. Thank you very much. It's in Ohio. Farther than I expected, but still. No, that makes sense. Yeah. Did you watch season 4 of True Detective? No, I did not. Just finished episode 1 and it was meh. I'm not gonna. I had enough of my friends that loved the other True Detective 1 and 2, and they very much finished it and they were like, fuck, to them it was, and we enjoy a lot of the same stuff, but I think it was like episode 3 shits the bed and the finale's stupid. So I was like, I'm not watching it, not yet anyway. I mean, I don't know which Portland they were talking about, Maine, Portland, or Oregon. Now, here's the thing. Oregon is on the map. When they show the map, unless I'm mistaken, they show it's Oregon, Portland. I'm sorry. I'm reading it on the screen. It's Portland, Oregon. Sounds weird when you say it the other way around, but I'm almost positive on the map it's Portland, Oregon, not Maine. So yeah, I think that's it. Let me look and see, 'cause I think the map, that could be wrong, but it's gonna play a fucking commercial. Watch. You are now speeding up your path to citizenship. Where's the
And I'm late for work.
trailer?
Oh shit.
Oh, what the fuck? Did I miss the? Where's the fucking? They didn't go that far into it, did they? Oh, they did. All right. It's got music in it too, so I'm gonna kill the music. What's going on here? So we got Rick and Michonne. I could have swore they shown a map, but maybe it's not in the intro. CRM flag. We got. Look at all those choppers. Holy shit. All right. They did show a map, but it's not wide. Oh wait, it is. See, Portland, Oregon. In my brain, I knew we had some sort of bigger map. So here is. Omaha. Even Omaha is fucking farther away when you visualize it in your head sometimes. So here's Portland, Oregon, and there's nowhere near where they're at on the East Coast. I mean, that's almost as far away as you can get. Only if they went down to Florida, they would be farther, you know? This is is this a different, like, is just some sort of map for the show specifically? What is that? I didn't think about that either. See how it's gridded up different? It's definitely gridded up different. Because Pennsylvania is like I wonder if this is something showing like lakes or something, or is this done for the show? But if they did it for the show, what would it mean? It's probably just lakes, like bigger lakes, and I'm being overthinking it. It doesn't matter. It's Oregon, Portland, Oregon. Helicopter Boy. That's funny. He's dead. He's now Helicopter Boy. Do you see Rick and Daryl reunion in the last season of The Ones Who Live? In this very moment, I can't visualize it, but I want to see it. And I do think they're gonna wrap it up. I just don't see it. It's only 6 episodes. I don't know how they're gonna cover it all in 6 episodes. And then even if they spill over into season 2, I don't know yet. We'll see. I think they will pull it off, but I have my doubts. If there's one thing we can agree on, that's Andy showed. He is an amazing actor in this episode. Yeah, Andy killed it. I think that's why he's so great to watch, because he crushes it all the time. Do you think we will see any other Walking Dead characters this season, or strictly Michonne and Rick? Right now, I'm thinking Michonne and Rick. Well, Jadis. And I'm still pulling for a Heath cameo. At least something. Ronnie Rick says he doesn't want to be a leader in the CRM. Yet he was the whole time during the original series. What the fuck? Well, he doesn't want to be a leader in the CRM because that takes him away from his family, you know? Plus, you know, it sucked being the leader. I wouldn't blame him if he didn't want to be the leader anymore, you know? Radiation symbol on Texas is a nice touch, meaning they knew about the events in Fear the Walking Dead with the nukes. Well, they're big enough they should have. Do you think, and they were in the area? Do you think we'll see any Walking Dead characters this season? Okay, I already answered that one. The Cascades are right next to Portland. They have to be planning for a fight with them. I don't know. I think I need to start paying more attention, because I might be underestimating, you know, their use of the CRM in the story, but we'll see. Because I don't know if they're gonna do much. They're doing something, but I just don't know. Yeah, I'm going to bed now. I'm out. And Andy also directing some episodes. That's what's up. Where does this take? Well, where Rick's at is supposed to be Philly. Gimple confirmed one or more. When I think of them being in the show, I want them to interact with the character. So just to put it in perspective, that's why I'm thinking, like, who could it be? Because I don't want it to be like a phone call. Or even worse, we just cut to a character and they're doing something and they don't interact with Rick. Because then it's like, what the fuck are we doing? You you know? Just hoping they don't try to bridge any world beyond or fear characters. Just please don't. Hope not. Hell no. Both Daryl and Carol most likely. Morgan were currently looking for Rick, so we might see them. Well, Daryl and Carol can't. They're on a different island. Totally on a different island. You know what I mean? They can't be in it. They can, but it wouldn't make sense. They're on a whole different island, you know? I mean, they're across the seas. Like they're not even close. But if they do something crazy, and what could that be? You know what I'm saying? Like they would have to skip all of what we're about to watch, bring Daryl and Carol back, reveal to us they make it off, overseas. They make it home from overseas safely. It's just a mess. You know what I mean? I don't know. But again, if they show Daryl and Carol in a cameo and they don't meet Rick, still it's a mess because they're not interacting with the character. Why are they even there for us to go, oh, look, I know them? Found it weird that Michonne found Rick so quickly. Yeah, a little bit. I found the pacing to be odd overall. However, it depends what they're doing with it. Like in the very first season of The Walking Dead, Rick reuniting with his family is very much anti-Hollywood writing. It's very much in the structure of Hollywood, but it's anti-being, or at least for TV shows. And I think that's why it works so well, because Rick finds his family. He reunites with his family in the opening credits. You know what I'm saying? Like, where a couple credits are still rolling on screen. The episode opens and he finds his family. And he found them in the second episode. He links up with the group that's connected to his family in the first episode, 30 minutes in. He finds his family very quick in the comic and the show. But it's not about him finding his family. That's the pitch. But once he finds his family, it's about them surviving. So the 6 episodes. And it works. So even though Michonne and Rick ran into each other very fast, they can still make it work getting to that point. It depends on what's coming up, though. You know what I mean? As far as the map of the U.S., it looks like they divided the states. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing because some of it's weird. Like, look at this little tiny nugget. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would they cut out that little nugget? You know what I mean? Like, I don't get it. Why this little? What would the outline be for? It looks like lakes. It looks messy, but we'll see. Still doesn't make sense. Philly is like 3 hours from Virginia. Ohio is like 8 hours. How did our group find one and not the other? Oh, bro, none of it makes sense. None of it. None of them in the locations and finding each other makes sense at all. These characters avoid the Whisperers for years and then suddenly, conveniently, just fucking pop up. I'm just saying, like, none of the shit makes sense. They get lost and find each other with ease. But I agree. I mean, none of that makes sense. People knew Andrew was coming back. Daryl's show would be set in the U.S. You would think. You would really think. Still doesn't make sense. Philly's like, okay, I already did that. It's the apocalypse. All other shows maybe on a different timeline. I'm not keeping up with the timeline, so I'm leaving that up to the fans to keep me in check, because I really don't give a shit to follow the timeline other than just loosely based, I don't know what's 5 years, though. Not very quick. I don't know if you're talking about them meeting each other, because that's not the context that we're talking about. Like, we're not talking about the characters' timeline. That doesn't make any sense, to be honest. How long something happens for a character in a cutscene or off screen doesn't do anything. For us, it happens in one episode. That's what we're talking about. Like, we could say it took Michonne 50 years to find Rick. It doesn't matter. 50 years, 5 days, 5 months. that it's totally different. I just don't even know how to put that into words. It doesn't matter at all. Like, it took Michonne 5 years, sure, but for us, we saw Rick where Rick's at. We saw him do something else, and look, he already found Michonne. It was fast. But I think how I speculated that they meet, I'm really hoping that's close, because that does sound awesome. So we'll have to see. All right, I'm going to bed though. The timeline is so effing confusing. Yep, that's why I'm done. So timeline wise, I'll look it up when other fans put it together. All right. You guys, thank you very much. Thank you so very much for the tips and the support. That's going to help immensely as we move into the summer and I start upgrading my computer. I got a ways to go yet, but keep an eye out next Sunday, 10 p.m. for The Walking Dead, Those Who Live, episode 2. I don't know what it is about that title. Every time I go to say it, I got to think like, wait, is that the right title? I just don't like that title. The Ones Who Live. The Ones Who Live. Yeah. I just don't like that title, man. I don't hate it, but I don't like it. It's too pretentious. I don't know. I'm not into it. All right. Have a good night, guys. Thank you very much for hanging out with me. We got quite a lot of people, more than I expected. Holy shit. All right. Come back next Sunday, 10 o'clock. Come back and hang out with me. Be safe until then.